For a 25.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Metro Transit has immediate openings for mechanics to help maintain our buses, trains, and support vehicles. It's a great place to work. You'll earn a $4,000 hiring bonus, and in the first year, mechanics earn over $88,000 a year, depending on work shift. Learn more at metrotransit.org/mechanics. Our mechanics get a generous tool allowance and outstanding benefits like great medical and life insurance and a state pension. Don't wait. Apply today at metrotransit.org/mechanics.
The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Diani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 16. Then Wednesday, more snow expected with highs in the mid-teens. Freshen up the monotony of holiday cooking with a wonderful meal from an Eat Local Minnesota restaurant. They can fit any craving and are perfect for any occasion. Check out the list of Eat Local Minnesota restaurants at eatlocalminnesota.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut. He need cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we're coming to you from Macho Hodus, which is the Twin Cities here. Just a little whole chunk there thrown in there. And I'm Robert Pilot, bringing you the Native American news, updates, voices from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and all across Turtle Island. And today we have a special guest, and I really mean that in a good way. Our friend Hunter. And Hunter and I are going to have a long conversation here about a lot of things here. But Hunter Thndercloud is our relative, and we're going to bring him on in just a minute here. And we're going to talk about his visions, his business, his way to help our community heal. And it's going to be a special show. And we're going to have a surprise, too. We're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up in collaboration with Native Roots Radio. And so we're really really excited to talk about this and to talk about the great work that he's doing. And also, I really want to talk about his vision. And his vision is, uh, I don't know, I don't have words for it. His vision is something our community needs in such a big way. As you know, I've been in recovery for 41 years and coming up, and or I had 41 years in November, and so it's going to be a great discussion. And Hunter, I'm going to add you right to the show right now and give you a big ahoo, and thank you so much for coming on and talking about these very important things, Hunter. Hunter Thundercloud, thank you so much for coming on. Okay, we don't have any audio, Hunter. But see what we can do there. Keep on talking and in a good way. But you know, there's so much going on in Indian country across Turtle Island, and a lot of it's bad, a lot of it's good. And Hunter and I, go ahead, Hunter. Can you say something there?
Yeah, I can. Hello,
There
can
you
you hear
are,
me?
right on. Hey,
There we are. There,
it's a
it is a
Christmas
lot quicker than
miracle.
last time.
It's a Christmas miracle. Great to see you, Hunter. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to talk about your vision and what's going on here. And we talk about so many different things on Native Roots Radio, but it's always great to be able to talk about something totally positive that you are presenting to the community and have been working on. Thank you so much for being on Native Roots Radio.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited. I mean, I've been on here a few times now, and I like it every time. My first time, I was really nervous. Now I feel like I'm getting the hang of it.
Well,
But yeah,
yeah. So, do we want to talk about the wellness project, or do we want to give everyone a tease about the big information that's going to be happening with a collaboration with Native Roots Radio coming up it would be the 7th of January. So, do we want to tease everyone, or should we get right into that?
I mean, I like to just get into things, you know. I'm not a teaser. I like to get in, finish, you know. I like to complete projects that I start, you know. Sometimes it takes longer than I think it's going to take, but
Yeah. Well, you are a carpenter, and so that makes total sense. Finishing carpenters are very hard to find good ones. So, yeah,
yes.
let's talk about our collaboration, Hunter.
Well, you know, I came on a few times, and Robert really he maybe he didn't convince me, but he definitely pushed me or nudged me into suggesting maybe we should do a podcast to get information out and talk about issues that need to be talked about. You know, whether it's recovery or wellness. We call our program Thundermaker Wellness Center because we believe it's not just about addiction; it's wellness in a lot of forms: spiritual, monetary, um, social. I mean, we're really looking to rebuild our communities in a lot of ways. You know, and to me, culture is the thing that is going to connect us. You know, that will be the foundation of everything we do. You know, that's wellness is probably the main focus on the podcast we'll be talking about. So it won't only be about addiction recovery; it'll be about food even. So it's exciting. I mean, um, but it sounds like the first show will be January 7th.
Yeah, and it'll be right after Native Roots Radio, so we'll go right into it. They're preempting the show afterwards, after my show, and then what I want to try and do and is get it out to our affiliates too. So we'll definitely give that a big shot to get it out to our other affiliates too. But it'll be a live radio show or taped live, or it'll be live on AM 950. But we'll send it out in all our different forms, our TikToks and all the things out there that people will be able to listen to, and we'll be pumping it out, promoting it, the clips, and also the whole show all over Turtle Island. So we're going to get big coverage, and I'm excited to really amplify what you're doing, because what you're doing for the community and for Turtle Island specifically, our native community it needs to be talked about and really needs to be amplified. And yeah, I can't wait. We already have one of the shows in the can, and we're going to be doing more shows, and so I'm excited.
Yeah. I mean, and we're building out a podcast studio out here in Arizona, which is really exciting. It'll be nice to not have a mic issue right when I start. We'll come in and be able to talk, focus on issues. And for me, it's I want to focus on the positivity, um, the solution. I think most people do know the problems, and we'll talk about those, but it won't always be the main focus. It's what are the solutions that actually do exist? Because I think there are many of them, and I think there are a lot of people in Indian country that are part of the solution and that are making the difference. And I one of the things I think we don't even talk about within addiction, we also have one of the highest sober rates out of anyone when it comes to ethnic populations. Native Americans have the most sober people. I mean, that's also because maybe we have the most people in addiction, but that shows that a lot of people do have success rates and are able to go back and heal themselves. I mean, and I think this is a problem that will take generations to really heal. I mean, we're coming from a place that really was designed to kill us, so that means it's going to take a lot of work, but it's the positive work that makes this meaningful and exciting. I mean, it's rebuilding communities is exciting, even though it's hard. I mean, seeing success and people grow, that's the best part of life, is the human connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk about this as a spiritual disease. And what you're doing is you're bringing our spirits back because, with genocide of native communities, we've lost out a couple generations, and we have to regain that. Hey, we're here with Hunter of Thundercloud, and we're talking, and he's the founder of Thundermaker Wellness, and we're going to be right back after this short break. Please stay with us. Ho!
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Metro Transit has immediate openings for mechanics to help maintain our buses, trains, and support vehicles. It's a great place to work. You'll earn a $4,000 hiring bonus, and in the first year, mechanics earn over $88,000 a year, depending on work shift. Learn more at metrotransit.org/mechanics. Our mechanics get a generous tool allowance and outstanding benefits like great medical and life insurance and a state pension. Don't wait. Apply today at metrotransit.org/mechanics.
The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio, rooted in Lakota aesthetics of geometry, color, and pattern. Deani Whitehawk's abstractions are rich in meaning, honoring generations of Native artists. Explore her wide-ranging practice, including vivid beading paintings, sculptures, and video installations, and Deani Whitehawk's love language. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. Plan your visit and get tickets at walkerart.org.
Mon beau sapin, roi des forêts.
Francois, you're decorating Christmas trees.
Regardez ces sapins de Noël décorés de macarons de chez Nicolette.
You can buy Christmas trees decorated with Nicolette's macarons. Are there any new holiday flavors?
Oui, à la menthe, chocolat chaud et nickerdude.
Peppermint, hot chocolate, and do you mean snickerdoodle?
Oui.
Oh, and every day for the holidays, Nicolette's will be at Dayton's Market downtown and at Southdale.
Joyeux Noël.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much. And it's funny, I just want to, that ad, it was an old ad that just played, and I just want to give a big shout out and a big peeny for everyone that supported Native Roots Trading Post and also Wendy's Market at Southdale. Thank you so much, a big peeny you got that wild rice and you got all the art and things like that. The last day, heck painting went for $300, and that was excellent that you're supporting artists all across Turtle Island. And yeah, it just tickles our heart here at Native Roots Radio that you support us. Hey, we are here with Hunter Thndercloud, and we are talking a good talk here, as we usually do, about community, and what makes community. Hunter, thanks again for coming on. Okay, something I muted you this time.
Yeah, you did.
There we go. That was
There
my
you
bad.
go.
By
There
the
you
way,
go.
sounding really good.
Great. I have it's a headphone, it helps.
Yeah, cool. So let's talk about your journey. I really think it's important to hear this, how far you've come and where you're from, and let's talk about maybe the struggles you had and what changed and how you became sober.
It's a long journey, it started as a teenager, it started out as maybe trying to have fun when I look at it, it was trying to have fun, or it wasn't trying to have fun, it was trying to escape, trying to feel okay. And especially when I look at it now, I mean, I think I had a great childhood, and my parents did a great job. The environment I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, born and raised. I lived there until I was 31, until I came out to rehab. And I think I was successful in lots of things in life, but my personal life was always complicated because of my addiction. I got my first DUI when I was 18 in high school. Second one at 22, third at 25. I probably was arrested maybe a couple dozen times in that period, and it was rough. A lot of suicidal ideations and attempts in my early 20s. I mean, and a lot of it probably stemmed from not being, when we talk is that spiritual hole, that I was missing something, and even though I say I have a good childhood, everything wasn't perfect. When I look back at it, we go through some of the 12-step programming. We talk about how maybe your parents didn't do the best job, and maybe there was trauma, and I'm not blaming them. It's understanding that when you do have trauma, as a healthy adult, it's my job to fix it, not to pass it on to the future generations. And if we can take an honest look at maybe your life, you can see where those things happened. And I think also when you become a parent, you realize your parents probably did the best job they could, and so I don't have resentments around it. And I know it's just a part of life and growth. But I think my parents are great. I have a great family. Both of my brother and sister also have this disease. My brother passed away from it. My sister, she's doing well, but we've had these issues in our family, and it's not just me. It's a lot of people. And I think even growing up, we hid a lot of it. It was, we pretended maybe it didn't exist, or maybe it was a phase. I mean, they knew that there's something wrong, but sometimes, in a lot of our communities, when something's wrong, we don't know what to do. And that's why it's important to have resources and, you know, different people explaining these situations, that there are people that have these things and are able to escape it and get better. You know, and you know, a lot of my addiction in the beginning, it was almost always self-destructive. You know, you know. So I got my third DUI, and I, you know, was like, I can't drink anymore. I was like, I'll get a felony. You know, Wisconsin's very light when it comes to DUIs. If that would have happened in Arizona, I would have been in prison for a couple of years. You know, my first, and I didn't realize that how light it was, but I knew I didn't want a felony, so I was like, I got to quit drinking. So I got into opiates. You know, I started doing heroin around 26, 25, 26, and I did it until I was 31, until I came out to rehab. And you know, I live in denial with lots of things. Even right now, when it comes to smoking cigarettes, I've only recently considered myself someone that smokes, and I've been smoking since I was 14. You know, I'm like, I've always been like, oh no, I'm a social smoker, but that denial still lives
Denial
in
is
me.
I was told I was told early on was denial is not a river in Egypt. Oh, wow.
Yes, exactly right. And, and you know, like my because I snorted heroin for a long time, and that made me feel like it was a social thing, even though I was doing it by myself often, every day. You know, and it stole lots of pieces of my life. Um, I I do, you know, when I talk about having a good childhood, my parents taught me a good work ethic. They gave me a lot of healthy experiences. They were both teachers, so they were able to educate me in different ways. So I did find success, um, not in my personal life, but definitely in the careers I chose. Um, I was lucky. I grew up working in houses, and I started my first business when I was 21. So I learned a lot of things, uh, how to be a business owner, throughout that time. A lot of failures. I worked for free quite a bit. I mean, I but I never gave up. And I think, you know, I think I became an entrepreneur because of my addiction. Because if I had a job, I wouldn't make it there on time, or I would be too hungover, so I would lose it anyway. So my entrepreneurial spirit has come from my addiction. It was a way to um, cope with myself. It was a survival mechanism. Um, you know, I didn't like to steal. You know, I didn't. There's things I didn't like to do, so I was like, if I work harder, I'll be able to buy booze and drugs. You know?
Right. I worked in a bar, so that, you know, bar slash restaurant, but mostly bar.
You know, I tried to work in a bar for a bit, you know, and they allowed me to have a tab, and and so I never made money working there, you know. So I was like, anytime I had a job, you know, it wasn't really a good job, you know. So um, but I came out to Prescott, Arizona, to rehab. It was actually my third time going. I went as a teenager once when I was 22, and then when I was 31 and I was married. And I had a business, and I was doing okay. And I owned a few houses. So, I mean, coming out to Prescott really opened my eyes. I came the rehabs before that, because they were very clinical, they're expensive. Insurance companies only allow for a certain amount of time, and I think the longest I stayed in was 3 weeks. It's more like this short medical stabilization period, so you don't have tremors or die, or it's a safety more. Um, where when I came out to Prescott, they had a different model. I was here for 3 months. It was a 90-day program. My tribe assisted me with it, which I was really grateful for, especially now. I mean, I think the tribe allowed me and invested in my life. You know, financially, I wouldn't have been able probably to do it by myself. You know, I didn't. They also helped me with sober living afterwards. But even coming out here, I mean, the longer I was in some form of care for 10 months out of the 14-month period when I first started, you know, and it was hard. It was hard, and you know, I didn't think I needed it, or you know, when you start to feel good, you think you're cured, and then you know, and part of my story I always say is on day 89 in rehab, I knew I was going to be sober the rest of my life. In day 91, I was doing coke and I was drinking, and you know, it happened so quick. But there was a part of me that knew I was going to be sober the rest of my life, and it doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. Hey, we're here with Hunter Thndercloud, and we're talking about, you know, his recovery, and also I guess next segment I kind of want to talk about, because I always feel like you know, that when people get sober in their own community, it's very hard, and sometimes you have to go somewhere else to get sober. So maybe we can talk a little bit about your journey in that sense too. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Deani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org.
Metro Transit has immediate openings for mechanics to help maintain our buses, trains, and support vehicles. It's a great place to work. You'll earn a $4,000 hiring bonus, and in the first year, mechanics earn over $88,000 a year, depending on work shift. Learn more at metrotransit.org/mechanics. Our mechanics get a generous tool allowance and outstanding benefits like great medical and life insurance and a state pension. Don't wait. Apply today at metrotransit.org/mechanics.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat, is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity in styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
Hi, I'm Rachel Shamblat. My dad is Dr. Scott Shamblat from Shamblat Family Dentistry. A lot of people are afraid of the dentist, but you don't have to be. My dad makes going to the dentist comfortable and even fun. He won't be mad if you haven't seen a dentist in a long time. He just wants to take care of you and your teeth. If you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblat Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblatfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 16. Then Wednesday, more snow expected with highs in the mid-teens. The holidays are almost over, but we still need your support to keep your progressive voice on the air here at AM 950. If you can, head to am950radio.com and make a donation. As a thank you, you'll get our 2026 AM 950 calendar. That's am950radio.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Here we are with our friend Hunter Thndercloud, and we're talking about his story in recovery. And I wanted to talk a little bit about maybe you could fill us in, because I believe it's really hard for a lot of people to sober up in their own community. Let's talk a little bit about your journey, and it sounds like that may be kind of the case, what you went through. And let me unmute you right now before I forget.
There we go. There we go. I actually think getting sober is definitely a personal journey, right? You know, we haven't figured out. Actually, we have. I mean, maybe we haven't, but we do know things about getting sober, and there are some things that we know that create a more successful environment. There are centers and programs out there in communities where they have really high success rates. I mean, we know that it's long term. And the longer you're willing to work on it, the more likely you'll stay sober long term. For me, exiting or leaving Milwaukee for a period of time was very important. You know, and I think it is for lots of people. You know, Prescott was kind of like a final destination for lots of people in recovery. All of my friends and my new family that I've met out here, none of them are from Prescott. I mean, they're from kind of all over the country. And it's because a lot of the times when you are trying to get sober in your own community, you have to deal with all the maybe negative things that you maybe view as yourself, or the opportunities to maybe use, you know, people, and, you know, we say people, places, and things, but maybe there isn't a strong enough 12-step community. I mean, a lot of Native communities right now are under wild sobriety, but maybe there isn't enough support for it. So sometimes it's important to go and heal yourself somewhere for a bit. The idea is to go home, but to go home when you're ready. I mean, and that's, you know, I plan on moving back to Wisconsin someday, but, you know, when I started this project, I like to complete things. And I wanted to make sure I created something good, so when I brought it home, we know that it's a viable thing, or something that we know works. You know, and but sometimes getting sober is hard at home, and lots of people do it. You know, I'm a 12. I believe in 12 steps, but it's one piece of my recovery. I don't think it's the thing that will keep me sober. It's the way I've had to change my life completely. But it is hard. You know, that's why I had to leave. Actually, every time I went home in my first year and a half, I got high, or I drank, or you know, and I remember feeling like being in Prescott, because it was, I don't know where it is at now, but 8 years ago, it was probably the third largest recovery community in the country. It was the town between the Tri-Cities was right around 120,000, but there's 200 meetings a week, you know, between these Tri-Cities. The access to going to meetings was very easy, you know, and the recovery was strong because of how many people were here. I mean, there are old timers, but because it is a transient kind of recovery community, a lot of people do go home. They go home, people that are successful, some of them go home and they relapse, they come back because they were able to do well here. And I think right around year 3 through 5, lots of people leave and never come back and they stay sober the rest of their lives. I mean, I've seen that's like, you know, that's when they've been able to be the person that they can go home and be comfortable with saying no and making new friends and being part of the community that they feel comfortable in, which is a sober community. And you know, a lot of them, they've learned how to work and get jobs and take care of themselves, you know. So it's Prescott's a very unique place. You know, I haven't been to a lot of recovery places that are like this because of how small it is. You know, I see rehabs in Phoenix, you know, and people when they leave, they get lost because it's such a big city, you know, where Prescott's small enough, but big enough where you could get employment, but small enough also where if something happens to you, people can find you. You know, I think that's the risk of a big city, you know, is you can get lost in the addiction quick, you know.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Thundermaker Wellness Center and how that came about and where you're at with that.
So I'm a co-founder. Arrow Funmaker helped me start it, and then also Alec Thundercloud assisted. I mean, our program was really it's been built and designed by Ho-Chunk people, not only Ho-Chunk people, but you know, it is the people that co-founded it have been or are, and you know, it started around a fire. You know, Arrow worked in the recovery community, and I mean, he runs ceremony, and you know, we were going to sweat. We have a sweat lodge here on at our property, but we were sitting around the fire and we were complaining. We were upset at the system and talking about how there's got to be a better way. And you know, I think I'm lucky because I'm one of those people that sometimes I don't think very much. You know, I'm an action person. I'm not always a thinker. So, you know, I'm like, we talked about the idea of starting something where we could have something that could heal our own people, something that was designed for us. And you know, he's worked in rehabs, and he's like, we always have to fight to bring in culture because most rehabs in this country are not native owned or even run. Even the ones that are native, maybe owned or financed, doesn't mean that they're run by native people. I mean, so you still have to convince out non-native people that our ceremonies are valuable or our culture is valuable, and that, you know, the therapeutic models are also just a piece. They're not a cure. You know, our culture is not a piece. It's the foundation. It's the thing that we lean on. You know, we can always go back to it. And I think we're in a period where, you know, we talk about reclaiming, because a lot of those things were taken away. And to me, this is the perfect place to start learning about culture and how to hold ourselves as men and women, is when we're already broken down and we've already lost, most of us have lost everything by the time we get to rehab. So it's like, why not start at a good foundation, which is our culture? And you know, And I've had these, the question I really have a lot when we talk about Thundermaker is, whose culture are you teaching? Is it Ho-Chunk? Is it Lakota? Is it Navajo? And, I think one of the things we talk about is it's a culture of being human. And going back to the culture of we were connected to, the birds, four-legged, two-legged, right? That's what we considered them as brothers and sisters and family. And the trees were alive, right? The mountains were alive. We have stone people, right?
Right.
And like when we have to convince people that the stone people used to guide us and talk to us, it's not, we need to have our own spaces,
Right.
and so that's, to me, that's our foundation. Our foundation is that we're trying to teach the men that come to our program that it's about intention and knowledge, and it really is to inspire them to go home and learn their cultures. And a lot of people weren't raised in ceremony.
Exactly.
So,
it's funny, we talk about the 38+2 here in Minnesota, and my daughter's a drug and alcohol counselor up here, and she was saying that and she has a native group, and so many of the native people didn't know about that, or didn't know about a few days later the Wounded Knee, the slaughter of Wounded Knee. And so part of us being like way up there in addiction is that we don't know who we are.
I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, the books, we have the guys read books. I mean, we're reading native authors. We're listening to John Trudell. We get to like decide the things that we want to teach and read. The leaders we want to bring in. I mean, to me, it's really important to bring elders into our facility to talk about, our history and our stories, right? The ways we would have passed on knowledge, and the way to hold ourselves. And for me, it's the more I've done ceremony, the more I've realized a lot of it is about intention, how I hold myself. When I go to someone else's ceremony and I see that they need something, I offer to help always. And I realize if I can go chop wood, that is always helping. That it doesn't matter whose culture it is. They need men to act like men and be protectors.
Yeah. Well, I think we got like 30 seconds left in the segment. I'd love to talk about how people can get in touch with you and talk a little bit more about our radio show that turns into a podcast immediately afterwards. So really exciting news, and you're doing really good here. I think you're a pro now on the radio show. Oh, wow.
Thank you, Robert.
Hey, right on. We'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be back with Hunter, Thundercloud, and Thundermaker Wellness Center. Oh, wow.
Metro Transit has immediate openings for mechanics to help maintain our buses, trains, and support vehicles. It's a great place to work. You'll earn a $4,000 hiring bonus, and in the first year, mechanics earn over $88,000 a year, depending on work shift. Learn more at metrotransit.org/mechanics. Our mechanics get a generous tool allowance and outstanding benefits like great medical and life insurance and a state pension. Don't wait. Apply today at metrotransit.org/mechanics.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
The Walker Art Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio, rooted in Lakota aesthetics of geometry, color, and pattern. Deani Whitehawk's abstractions are rich in meaning, honoring generations of Native artists. Explore her wide-ranging practice, including vivid beading paintings, sculptures, and video installations in Deani Whitehawk's love language. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. Plan your visit and get tickets at walkerart.org.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Oh, this is Dallas Goldtooth, and you're listening to the Native Roots Radio. Hoka, hicha, wecha.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. And we are here with our friend Hunter Thndercloud, and we're talking about Thundermaker Wellness Center. And I want to talk a little bit about how people can get in touch with you, and a little bit about that, and also talk a little bit in this last segment about the radio show and turning into a podcast and promoting good words and good health and things like that. So thanks again, Hunter, for coming on and talking about this. Okay, something happened with the mic there.
Oh, there we go.
Hey,
there you go. Can we do it every single segment? Yes, we can.
Yeah. Yes, that's awesome. Two of them were my fault here. All right, yeah.
So you can get a hold of Thundermaker Wellness. I think our website's a great resource, because if you're someone that wants to come, or you have a family member, we actually have contact in a couple different ways. We have a form you can fill out to let us know where you are, who you are, what you need, kind of thing. So you can fill that out, and we'll contact you. And you can always call. There's a phone number, and it's thundermakerwellness.com. And we also have a social media, so Instagram and Facebook. So those are also places where it's Thundermaker Wellness. You should be able to. We're, I think, easy to find. Che Jim is a social media influencer. He's also connected to Thundermaker, so he has probably a link on some of his pictures. But if you look up Thundermaker on even LinkedIn, we're on most of the social media platforms. So, and we're very responsive. So if you email us, we'll call you. That's thundermakerwellness.com. So, yeah.
Excellent. So what would be the process now? People listening to this, I have a family member or myself. Would we go to our tribe? Would we go to our insurance company? What do you see is like some of the ways that people can come to Thundermaker Wellness Center?
I would call us, and then I would also go to your behavioral health if you're a tribal member, and go to your behavioral health center, and you can usually advocate for yourself on where you want to go. If you say, I want to go to a native facility, and this is where I want to go, they'll contact us, or if you put us in connection with us, we'll advocate for you too. And then a lot of tribes, depending on who they are, will help financially, or their state insurance. But I would use tribal resources as much as possible. And by contacting us, we were able to see what there is to help, because every state has different insurance policies. I think if you're on private insurance, and if you're on private insurance, you could just come usually. Like if you have a PPO, because we'd be out of network, we would be able to take you automatically. So you wouldn't even have to call your tribe. So there are certain types of insurance that will automatically allow you to come no matter what.
So I call you and contact you, and you help facilitate and get through that red tape, which can sometimes be discouraging, especially if you're jonesing on need a beer or something, you know.
For sure. I mean, I think that's why it's really important that we connect with tribes, and tribes are willing to work with us. I mean, because once we can decide that a tribe is working with us or willing to, I mean, if you call, we'd fly you out. I mean, if we know that you're part of a network that we're within, and that's what we want to create. We know that sometimes you only have a few hours,
Right.
and it's like, especially with, in my opinion, stuff like fentanyl. Fentanyl is not the same thing as we've experienced with other drugs. It's its own beast. It's dangerous.
Right. It really is dangerous. So that's exciting. And one of the things that we've talked about in the past is that it's not only get in touch with your community and also your native ways, uh, but also you look for some vocation for people too. If they're in a place where they need to I have need to work. Talk a little bit about that.
So we're developing a vocational program. I have two other businesses, and we're using those. We have a construction company and a moving business, and we're able to start creating jobs. So, we want this to be a 2-year program, so people have the ability to stay. We know that transition is actually one of the issues with lots of people's sobriety. It's really hard to work on yourself when you're in this constant survival mode. And we know that if you have a stable place for a little bit of time, put down some roots, you can work on healing yourself. I mean, and so we want to provide a place where people can work after they've been in our program. So they can enter in, and we want to create these businesses that we're able to make sure that there isn't drug use in, make sure there isn't drinking, to make sure the people that are teaching or are the head of our programs have the same mission and values and belief in mentorship, so that when people want to exit, they have an opportunity at work. One of the toughest things to get into construction is experience. And if we can provide experience, that allows people opportunities once they exit.
Yeah, it's so important because that's part of where we need more workers too, and it's the skilled workers is what you're talking about. That really, we don't have that many now in this generation.
We need people to maintain our houses.
Yeah.
We need people to maintain our businesses. We need, I think when I've seen tribes, right, we have one industry we've become successful in, but we're not usually the ones that are maintaining them or building them. And it's like we should be able to create an economy where we're building all of our own stuff. We're maintaining all of our own stuff. So,
well, we got just a minute left, and I want to give you the floor and speak your truth here. I just want to say, at 6 p.m., Native Roots Radio is presenting, your show, and we're really excited. And it's going to be twice a month, every other week, starting on the 7th. So we're really excited to promote what's going on at Thundermaker, and what's going on in Arizona and what's going on with you. So we're really excited to partner with you.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. I mean, I'm excited about talking about kind of all the projects we're involved in, because we have people from lots of different places that want to help. So I'm excited to show who we are, present ourselves to the world in a good way.
Well, we're going to leave it at that. Thank you so much. This has been a great show to start the new year out. Hunter Thndercloud, founder of Thundermaker Wellness Center and soon to be podcast radio host. Ho! We'll see everyone in the new year. This has been Native Roots Radio.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis